Hello there, BookTube friends and book lovers everywhere. Today I am doing a tag video for the first time in about 2 years. It's been a long time. So the name of the tag is The New Year, New Me, book tag for 2025, and it was created by Kevin at Towle Reads, and I will put his link in the description of the video. Thank you, Kevin, for the tag, and thank you for tagging me. So the first question is about fears. What is one book from your 2025 reading goals that scares you? Yeah, I do have one. Here it is. Cain's Jawbone. What is that little book? What is it about that little book that frightens me a bit? Well, I'll tell you. Well, first of all, it's a murder mystery. I don't usually read murder mysteries, but I do once in a while in case there's some kind of a special thing going on. And this is kind of a special thing, this little book here. There's actually 6 murders, as I've heard this. There's 6 murders and 6 different murderers. So that in itself is a little confusing, but um, the thing about this book is that it's a puzzle. It's not just a book, it's a puzzle. And the reason that it's kind of scary is because every single page is out of order. You don't know what order the pages are supposed to be in. And there's a place for notes at the bottom of every page. I hope you can see that, because you have to look things up, not in this book, but in other books, reference books of various kinds. And uh, it's a puzzle that you have to actually tear the pages out of the book and then figure out which order they're supposed to be in. Okay, that's the page where you write down the order you think they're supposed to be in. And on every page there is, actually you can see a cutting mark and a little pair of scissors there. Yeah, people actually cut the pages out of this book. I haven't done that yet, obviously, but I'm getting ready to. I'm reading this along with Christina Winikoff, and she has a channel here too. It is Paper, Pages, Possibilities. Um, I only met her very recently here on BookTube, and I really like her style. I like her channel a lot. So she told me about this book and about a lot of other books in the ergodic, ERGODIC, in the ergodic fiction genre, things I was not aware of. And so I ordered some ergodic fiction books, and this is one of them. And we are reading this kind of together. Yeah, we're just, I don't know, hoping to understand it, but it's really hard because, I mean, if you read the pages in the order they are now, it makes no sense. And there's a lot of things you don't know and understand because there's other books that I'm going to have to consult to understand what's going on in this one. Like, I know there's a couple of poets that are quoted in here, and you have to figure out who's quoting whose poetry and things like. Anyhow, this scares me, but I'm going to try it anyhow because that's the kind of person I am. To me, it seems like more of a hobby than a book, but it is a book, and it is reading, and it is a hobby, and I don't expect to solve the mystery, but there's no harm in trying. So that's what this is all about. Next question. Next question is about patience. What is the one book on your 2025 reading goals that you want to start immediately? Well, as of January 1st, the first book I picked up was Address Unknown, and you might have noticed I already did a review of this book. The third question, growth. What book last year pushed you to reflect and or grow as a reader? And I would say that would be Les Miserables. I always say it wrong. It's supposed to be Les Miserables, but I always pronounce it like it's Spanish. Unfortunately, I took Spanish in school and not French, so I don't know much about French, but it's Les Miserables I think, because like I said, I never took French. But the book itself is very interesting and requires a lot of patience because there are long digressions on strange topics that maybe I don't even want to know anything about, like the battle at Waterloo. And so it is a really challenging novel, and I know a lot of people just quit because they get tired of the digressions, but I am hoping to continue with it. I'm not quite halfway through. I don't want to force myself to read it, but I go on and off of it. I put it aside for a while and then I go back to it. Right now, I'm reading it again. And I'm in, like, there's 5 books in the novel, and the book in the center is about Marius. That's the one that I'm reading right now. I don't know if that made sense, but it is a very challenging book. So, the fourth question in the tag, I got my little questions right here. New paths. What is one author you plan to try for the first time in 2025? Well, actually, there's two nonfiction authors that are very well known, and I haven't read anything from either of them. And one of them is John Krakauer. Krakauer. Hope I'm saying that right. John Krakauer. So I had like a choice between Into the Wild and Into Thin Air, and I think I'm going to read Into Thin Air. Um, so never read anything by him before, and I think it's about time. So the other one that I am planning to read, an author that I never read before, is Eric Lawson. And he has written a couple of books that are very provocative, but I haven't been wanting to read them because of the titles. Like the first one is The Devil in a White City. Well, I don't want to have anything to do with the devil. That's just not my thing. So I haven't read that book, even though I think it would be interesting to read, and it's like true crime. I'm sure it's going to be interesting, but I am not reading that one. The other one is Demon of Unrest. And the reason I want to read Demon of Unrest is because I'm doing a reading genre study right now of survival literature. And I think this is pretty close to survival literature. I know it has to do with the events leading up to the Civil War, so maybe that's not quite the same thing, but I will read it one of these months this year. I have it scheduled. So the next question on this tag is self-care. What is one book or series you revisit for comfort? My comfort books are about California history. I love to read the memoirs and letters of people who lived during the gold rush, that period of California history. I find it very interesting, and that gives me comfort. I don't know, it's hard to explain. I'm Californian from birth. I was born in Oakland and have lived here in this state almost all of my life, except for the 6 years I went to live in North Idaho. And yeah, my California books do comfort me, and I like the nonfiction ones better than the fiction usually, but I'll read both. Then the next question is Forging Ahead. What is your favorite debut book or first book in a series you read last year? So I only have one answer for that because I do not read debut books, could not care less about them normally. I don't read series if I can possibly avoid them. And so the book that I read last year, that was the first book this author ever wrote, was The Johnstown Flood by David McCullough. Johnstown Flood, a true event. This was a history book, and it was about something that took place a long time ago in Pennsylvania. and I think it's very much worth reading. So the last question is breaking walls. Bonus. Do you have a non-book related goal for 2025 you wish to share? My non-book related goal for 2025 is to once again try going on the forks over knives diet. Forks over knives. What does that mean? It is that some people would rather cure their problems uh, with their eating habits rather than by being surgically altered by doctors. So I'm going to try once again to go on that diet. It is vegan. I am not into being vegan, but I have been vegetarian almost all my life. And every time I tried to go vegan, I had a really hard time with it. And I think it was mostly because of a craving for carbohydrates, like bread. And I didn't know what to do about that. So I'm going to try it one more time, see what happens. And that is my goal. I'm not rushing into it. I'm going to do a long transition, about 4 months. Got it all planned. So the last thing is to tag some other people, and I will tag. I have a list here of people I want to tag. I want to tag Paola at Reading in Darkness and Hope at Hopefully Books. So thank you very much for listening to my tag, and I will talk to you in another video.